Hello and welcome to Camp Xbox. Today I have an exciting update. Recently, Xbox contacted me and asked me to become a partner with PC Game Pass. It sounded like fun, so I thought I would take a crack at it. They are giving me PC Game Pass for free, and I get to talk about some of the games on the service of my choosing. This is mostly a retro channel, so I don't want to fill up everything with newer Xbox content, but it's always good to see what's happening with Xbox nowadays. So I think I'm going to compile everything I've been playing together into one video as a compilation, give you short reviews of a wide selection of games with PC Game Pass. Let me know if you enjoy this format, and I might make this a monthly thing. Now, I was given this service for free, but all opinions are my own, and I will be completely honest with my feelings about all of these games. All footage was captured off of my PC, but I also picked games that you can play on Xbox. Before I get into it, I want to thank my YouTube channel members for their support, and let's go ahead and hop into it. First off, I played through Open Roads, which was released in March 28th of this year. It was developed by Open Roads team and published by Annapurna Interactive. Open Roads is a short adventure game that could be considered part of the term walking simulator. Yet, this is honestly a minimal part of this experience, and it's more focused on dialogue, similar to visual novels. In this game, you play as Tess, and you are helping out your mother, Opal. Your grandma has recently died, and your father has left the family to be a professional gambler in Nevada. While sifting through your grandma's belongings, you find something that hints at a past that she never spoke of. It leads you and your mother on a road trip to discover her secret past. It may seem like a bigger story than it actually is, but this is more of a slice-of-life game where it's more about talking to your mother and discovering things about each other. You talk about the divorce and hardships of growing up. It reads very much like a novel through the dialogue, and I like a good family drama, and this one is nice and low-key. The voice work elevates this from being mundane because it's voiced well by Caitlin Dever and Carrie Russell. Their talent shines through and gives dimension to these characters. I found some of the dialogue to be a bit patchy. It's a period piece set in 2003, and sometimes Tess speaks in ways I wouldn't have found in 2003. Some of the dialogue doesn't feel clean either, with long pauses that aren't natural and a bit awkward. These moments don't detract from the good story developed here though. I think the plot is endearing, as are the characters. The art design is really good, with colorful art crafted for the game. I adore the 2D art made for the characters, and the simple animations for them make this game stand out in the art design. It looked good when matched against the 3D world around you. You'll be talking in a 3D environment, and 2D animations are playing on top of it. It's unique and looks good. It is the same with the actual environments, which are full of detail with plenty to pick up and dig into. Even with stuff to look at though, it's only a 2 to 3 hour experience, so if you're looking for longevity, you won't have that here. I don't mind shorter experiences personally, especially with PC Game Pass, because it can be a time filler between your bigger games. However, I would not recommend this for everyone, mainly because there's not much gameplay here. You pretty much walk from item to item, talk and repeat. I like games like this to have small puzzle elements or a hidden object aspect to keep the gameplay energetic, but it does get a little slow here. Luckily, matched with its shortness, it's never quite boring. I'd say overall this one's solid. Some of the dialogue can be a little stilted, and the gameplay is extremely simple, yet the stories, voices, and artwork are all endearing. The developers set out to make an experience that was emotional and heartfelt, and it does that well. If you like a good story, this one is worth trying.
Tess, what are you doing? Don't touch that.
Why not?
It's in the trash.
Yeah, and? I'm just checking it out.
Well, stop.
Okay, fine.
Another game I played was Star Trucker, which came out on September 3rd of this year as a day one release. I was excited about this one because of American Truck Simulator and Euro Truck Simulator. Trucking games are a game type I find a lot of fun with. Hauling cargo across the country and just driving is a fun way to live out being a trucker without all of the hardships of being a trucker. So when I heard that a trucking game in the same vein was coming out on Game Pass, I hopped into this one quickly. Unfortunately, I don't think Star Trucker meets expectations. Being a trucker in space is an excellent idea for a game, Something about hauling cargo around the universe, dropping it off at space stations, and taking warp gates sounds fun. But when it comes to execution, it ends up being a slog. I realize what makes a truck sim work is the environment. Looking around and taking in the open road, the emptiness of space just isn't interesting. There are space stations with different styles depending on what areas you're in, but most of the game is exploring dark areas with stars on empty roads. Each location has space roads that are open areas you can drive on that don't have debris. It's pretty bland and all you see are trucks going by. I know it's space, so it's hard to make it feel full, but still, it doesn't make for much entertainment. Truck management is the most exciting part of this game. You can customize the parts that go in your truck and manage your power supplies. It makes the space truck feel personal to you, and I love that it has you sleeping in the cab and a space to store all of your supplies. What I don't like, though, is fixing the outside of your ship. You have to hop out of your truck and patch up holes in your truck, and it's slow and arduous, much like some other parts of the game, and it slows down the whole experience. The controls are fine overall, and going to pick up your supplies works. They tried to pep it up by adding in a story with characters that give you missions. You can also talk to them over your radio, and there are many interesting moments in the game, but the plot contains you just traveling across space to deliver goods. Nothing quite new. It's sad because I was looking forward to this one, but trucking in space became a slog. Maybe it needed to be less simulation and more focused on its plot to be more enjoyable. Otherwise, the emptiness of space isn't that interesting. If you like trucking games, I'd say stick to the ones that are set on Earth.
Well, how about that then? Perfectly on time, right on the stopwatch. Head on over and attach the merch at these coordinates. We'll have this job wrapped up in no time at all.
I also played some Neon White with PC Game Pass. This was developed by Angel Matrix and published by Annapurna. This came out in 2022, but didn't make it to the Xbox till July of this year. I have previously played this one on PC, and I went back to replay it. I want to recommend it here for you. Neon White is one of my favorite games of the decade so far, when it comes to gameplay. It's an exciting idea of card-based gameplay, first-person shooter gameplay with a speedrunning element. It's fast-paced and addicting, trying to shave down your times to be the best. To be fair, when this game was announced, I had been looking at it for a while, but mainly because of its soundtrack. Machine Girl does the soundtrack here, and they are one of my favorite artists, and this soundtrack is spectacular. I own it on vinyl, and it rocks. It's a breakneck, hardcore drum and bass soundtrack, and when it gets intense, the drums are insane. But it stops to give you some gorgeous synths and pads breaking it all up, and it's incredible. Even if you're not interested in the story or the gameplay, play it for the soundtrack. It's gorgeous and fits the mood of the game perfectly. The gameplay is incredible too, with different guns that can be used to shoot enemies with dual abilities that help you with speedruns, such as using a pistol to double jump, or a machine gun that throws down an exploding bomb. It's about managing your weapon cards while taking the optimal path to get to the end of the level and get that high-ranking trophy. It's fun, and I always stick to levels trying to get higher and higher global completion times. It helps that the level layouts are inventive and full of shortcuts to experiment with and attempt to beat your last time. It's simple in idea, but the execution makes it work so well with some great controls on the controller as well as the mouse and keyboard. The game looks fantastic too, since it's set in heaven and has a bright look that matches a vaporwave aesthetic. The black demons contrast with the brightness of heaven with steep architecture. Neon White always has interesting building designs that feel like a puzzle, trying to figure out the best ways to navigate its geometry. Neon White is an amazingly designed game that feels arcadey. I am praising this game, and I think in terms of gameplay, it's one of the best. And when I take out this element, it's fantastic, but there's an element I don't like. I hate the dialogue. The story is fine. It's of a sinner who's going to heaven and has to prove themselves to get a ticket to heaven. But this game also has a life or dating sim style approach. You give presents to other people in heaven and you get to know them better. It leads to some extra levels which are fun, but the dialogue is excruciating to me. It's just not written for me. It's all unfunny quips and references to anime, which I find tedious and annoying. I don't like this type of writing in any media, but I think this might be a personal thing, and some people might genuinely enjoy it. On new playthroughs, I usually fast forward through it all to get to the fantastic stuff. The music, the gameplay, which is some of the best. I recommend it. It's a game where you can skip right past the story and experience some incredible gameplay. I can't let the plot stop me from enjoying something amazing behind it.
Not bad for a dead guy, huh?
I also played We Love Katamari Reroll, which was developed and published by Namco and released in June 2023. If you're a longtime viewer, you know I love this series, but it has been a while since I played this sequel. The remaster came to Game Pass, and I was excited to give it a playthrough. It's still a charming and entertaining game. In this game, you play as the prince and you roll up your Katamari to make planets in the sky. You walk up to people in the hub world and they usually have requests and areas for you to roll through. You go to places like the ocean or a zoo. You usually start small and work your way up to picking up larger and larger items. The Katamari games typically have the exact same setup, and if you're here for a new story or a new twist on the format, you won't get it. But it doesn't need to do that. It's the same great gameplay, and the real reason to play it is to see all of the new locations and items you can roll up. The locations in We Love Katamari might be some of my favorites in the franchise, and they have a ton of unique items. The ocean is a great one, where you're not only picking up fish and scuba divers, but there are small touches like buried treasure. My favorites are always the ones where you're tiny in a home and there's nothing like being tiny in a game, picking up small items and eventually getting large enough to pick up the humans. This game always has a rewarding sense of progression. Moving from place to place is easy as well, and the hub world is super easy to navigate with a bunch of characters with multiple trials in each of their respective levels. There is plenty of content here, and this version adds even more content to do. It looks great on the PC as well, still holding up to that Katamari weirdness charm, but still having a nice fidelity. I played it on the Xbox as well, and it looks good there too. The controls are an odd use of both sticks, but the control scheme works perfectly in hand with the odd design of the game, and it's always felt right to play. It's highly replayable, and the achievement list is super simple. I have always enjoyed these games because they're simple and easy to pick up. I can complete a level in a sitting and move on to something else if needed. It's weird, lovable, and a nice addition to the Game Pass lineup. But that wraps it up for today. Those were the 4 Game Pass games I played recently. Be sure to recommend me some more Game Pass games below, and maybe I'll check those out. Like if you enjoyed this video. Also tell me if you want to see more of these videos. Subscribe to keep up with the retro and sometimes not retro Xbox content. And I want to give a huge shout out to my YouTube channel members. Thank you so much for your support. You really help out the channel. And I'll see you here next time at Camp Xbox.